The Capital Improvement Committee meeting of March 10th, 2021 at 2:06 p.m. So I guess on the agenda we have review the request. I don't know if anybody has any last minute questions about anything, but we pretty much went through our grading and everything. But we have it on there just to make sure. See any of that, so I guess we move into our scoring. Matt, you want to lead the charge on that since you have the results?
I will. Shirley, can you hear me? Because we've had some issues with sound. Okay. I think I just want to be absolutely sure that everyone scored every proposal that they wanted to score, because not everybody scored all the same things.
Yep.
So what is the will of the committee? Do you want
to? Just one other thing, just make sure, because you have priority 1 through 4.
I corrected all of that. I got everybody on the same scoring
system.
Just
making sure that everybody understood that their points were different than the priorities.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah. The higher the priority, the more points it got. That's the system.
Yep.
So if you really wanted it, it's a 4.
No, I understood that.
I'm explaining for the viewing public. I know we have a very large following, Mr. Chairman. Hundreds. Hundreds are glued to their television sets.
Oh, yeah. You can send out the mass mailings later.
But to go back out to this point, most members did not rate the drone, which was appropriate because you sent that to the Board of Selectmen. The Selectmen have voted to fund it, and the letter's going out as we speak to DCR.
Yep.
Not everyone rated the second plow. We had 2 people did not rate the paving projects, and then from there, there's just, various proposals didn't receive a score. I'm fine with it. The way I look at it is everybody had a list, and then if you decided not to put a value there, that's just it. Maybe you thought it would be an expense item, not a capital item.
Right.
So I'm not going to look into your intents as members.
Right. So on the, just a question I would have, just make sure that the second one the second plow truck didn't get rated because it didn't get rated, or was it did somebody think it was just listed twice?
May have thought it was listed
it's
twice.
Described as the same thing, so. Thank you.
I've sorted these by their score, not by the order that they were presented on the scorecard. So the highest grades are at the top. Now, as a matter of mathematics, adding additional scores to these averages won't change the outcome. But these top 3 or 4 projects are going to be the top 3 or 4, no matter what we do.
Yep. So on the generator, were we still thinking about trying to do that in 2022, where we're going to go through the engineering process? I thought we had kind of shifted that a little bit.
So some of the money is available now because it was already approved.
Correct.
So as far as I'm concerned, I can go out and get a designer now.
Yep.
My recommendation to the committee would be that you ask for funds sufficient to do the project with plus contingency plus design. So add 10% contingency, 10% design. Ask town meeting for that both projects be considered one and that we move forward with it. If we come under, we come under. We come under all the time. When the project closes out, the money goes back into free cash. So there's no harm, no foul there. But in terms of, if this has been the #1 priority 2 years in a row, let's just get the project started, is where I'm coming from.
That's fine. It has a dollar amount of $185,000, and I think we already voted in 135, is that correct? So are we looking for an additional 185, or are we looking for an additional 50?
No, I think, I'm looking at John, as Adam's not here.
Not yet. I thought it was 300 and change.
It's 300 and change, because when the electrical engineer came in to support our grant application, that was his estimated cost
Right.
for, it's an upgrade, not just a replacement. It's a bigger generator with more
And correcting issues.
load and correcting a number of significant electrical system issues. So the existing generator was never wired properly, and it does work, but it doesn't, it's not the safest operation there ever was of a generator. There's no switches and some of the other necessary safeguards. We also have a fair amount of dead wiring that's in the way. This is wiring that has been disconnected, no longer has, to the best of our knowledge, no longer carries any electricity in it, but it is in the way of what we need to do. So the best practice would be to remove any wiring that is no longer connected to electrical supply. So if that's 320, I don't know how much we actually need to add to that. I still would feel more comfortable if this was around 345, just
Yeah,
because
I was thinking around 350 myself.
if you want to make it nice and round, 350 is a pretty round figure.
Yeah.
And like I say, I think we'll give a fair amount of that back. I just don't want to be stuck out to bid, get the responses back, and not be able to let a contract because we didn't have enough
Yeah,
money.
because we're short 10,000.
Yeah,
Yeah. The panic alarms, that's for the school system.
yeah.
Yeah. And that's just for their internal security of some sort, yeah, as far as what Jeff said. So if we just look at the first four, and this is just for clarity so I can understand for myself, and then maybe it'll help other members. So we take the fire engine, the roof, that's 945, 960 with the panic alarms, and then we're gonna look for, so three, there actually want another 215.
Yep.
So that would be 950, 350, 215, 950. So we're a little over a million, like.
A couple of the things on mine, because it's.
Yeah, can I just finish what I'm saying? Then you can do whatever you want. I just,
The numbers are wrong here.
okay,
My
so
numbers are wrong.
I'm doing this just so I can ask a question, and then you can
Okay.
do whatever you want. I was just in the middle of what I was trying to figure out. So you're around 1.1 million, and we have somewhere around between 700 and 800,000 that you said. So assuming that those four items went through, how would we handle getting those things funded?
I think you can do an either or, right? You've got two projects that occupy the same, well, they're not the same at all, but if you do both of them, you're over your budget.
Correct.
So the generator is the clear winner here, and the panic alarms, because they were tied with the same
Yeah.
score. So then you either, and the next two items are tied in terms of the score. You either do the roof or the engine.
Now, is the engine something that is done like with a debt exclusion type thing, instead of out of free cash, or how is that?
You do that when you're cash strapped,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
This-
And I don't know any.
We're looking to do this,
That's why I'm asking these questions.
no, we're looking to do this cash.
Yep. Okay. I'm sorry, Ellie, you got to finish what you were,
Yes,
Fine,
I
correct.
had given engine one a score of 4, and I had given the, replace the main roof here, a score of 3.
all right, so they're just in reverse.
And yes,
Yep.
but that may switch the weight of everything.
Yeah, just switch the,
That's odd.
Do you see that on mine? Or you don't?
I know that you rated the engine a 4.
Well, I just wanted the chief to know that, too.
yeah.
I sorted this data, I wonder if that made a glitch. I know that, I entered the scores exactly as Ellie just said. In fact, it's her It's her rating that actually created the tie. I'll go quick, look at it real quick, but I'm pretty sure that it might be a sorting error and it's not a data recording error. That's still gonna leave you where you are.
If you could bring back that grading sheet with you, just the description of the four things.
Mike,
Yes.
so the generator, the amount is going to change a little bit?
That's going to go up to about, we have 135,000 now, so he's thinking it's going to be around 335 or 340 or something like that. To be safe, you probably, it's not engineered yet, so it's kind of hard to put a number to it. To be safe, you would go up to about 350, so that would change that number to 215
215?
from 185.
Thank you.
Mike?
Yes,
Sorry, Shirley Masinski. Did you say the number for the generator would go up to 250?
215, 215.
250, okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep.
Because we have the 185, right?
We have 135, so they were initially looking for an additional 185.
Okay.
But I guess after they talked to some of their consultants, they feel that it's going to be closer to the 340 mark. So to be safe, you might as well put a couple extra pennies. If you fall short 10,000, it would be a shame not to be able to do it and have that money stuck in an account until the following year.
Oh, I see where it is. I think I'm reading the numbers wrong, and Shirley's are right up against the averages, and mine are right sort of under Shirley's.
Yeah, it's offset.
Yeah, so that's where it shows up. So I'm reading it wrong.
Surround sound.
I figured it out. It's just the way they're sorted. This, I didn't realize this was Shirley's numbers and my numbers are right here. So
Yeah.
it was right. You were right.
Because it's going to the, it's justifying to the right
Yeah.
to pick up fractions.
Yeah, and you should have justified all the
We
initials.
should put it in the middle, actually, so it'll be right under your initial. I got everybody a copy of this, just so you have it, rather than talk about something nobody can see. It's one for me and John.
Thank you.
All right, so are the scores correct, Matt?
Yeah, as Ellie
They
pointed
didn't
out.
change?
No.
No, okay. So when you left the room, the question, John asked the question, and Shirley asked, so we changed that number for the generator to 215.
When we write the article language, we will make it clear to the taxpayer that this is in addition to a prior amount, and that the sum total of the project would be X, so that everybody knows what they're voting on.
Correct. So what would everybody like to do with these here? We have a budget of 700,000 to 800,000, and we have to figure out which ones we want to suggest, recommend to the town to vote on.
Did you actually vote on the generator?
No, we didn't vote on anything.
Okay.
We didn't, I figured we just went through it, so it just, is that how we want to do it? We want to go line item
It's
by
up to
line item?
you.
Well, no, I'm just trying to get a consensus of the committee as to how everybody's comfortable to do it. Because if we do it line item by line item, we're going to stop pretty quick, because we're going to be out of money by the time you get to the third line item, I think. It'll be 545, 560,000, that leaves 110.
It's all 6 and 1/2 dozen of the other. If you can't do both the third highest and the fourth high, they're both tied, right? So the third highest score
Yeah.
is 2 projects. If you
Yeah.
can't afford both, whether you go in order or you just have a straight up vote, which one gets funded, which one doesn't, you're gonna get the same
Right.
result.
I'll speak.
Good, John.
So, I mean, obviously, to me, this roof is important to keep this building in good shape.
Yeah, it's an ongoing problem, so,
So,
yeah.
I mean, to me, it's a no-brainer as far as getting the roof done here. You know, the police are here, all the businesses, the town businesses here, you know, that's a no-brainer. The panic alarms to me is protecting the children and the people at the school, obviously. I think that's something we should do. We can't run this place, the PD and what have you, without the generator, so that's obvious to me as well. You know, that puts us, if I did my math right, at 574 with those 3 projects. Someone want to double check me, but I think that's,
Yeah, 574.
is that right?
So my only question, if I may, Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
intervene for a second, because this is your area of expertise. Do you think 345 is enough for the roof?
Yeah, so I think it's plenty for the roof. What I had, just so it's clear to everybody, I'm on building and facilities, so I have these conversations with Adam on a regular basis about windows, roofs, and all this other nonsense. And I told him, what I suggested to him was to take that roof over there, divided by the square footage into the number. That also had parapet walls and a lot of other things associated with it. And he used that formula for up on that roof, and he did fatten up that number a little bit to make sure that he could get it done.
Including any pointing you would have to do if the...
Correct. Yep, yep. I don't know what the area of that roof is up there. I've never been on that particular roof. Been on this little one and that one, but that's about it. But he feels confident that he can get it done for that much money. And he had some excess in it. How much, I don't know.
I was reading through the minutes, and there seemed to be a question of whether recent bids had been in on the roof stuff. Did everybody read the minutes? It's fascinating reading.
I did not.
And that's all I'm curious about is when were the quotes done and have they been updated and were there one or?
So I think I can answer that question for you. There's probably been some casual estimates that have been put on it, but it's never been spec'd out as to exactly what the scope of the job would be. Okay? Matt and I had a conversation recently about how far you take the roof down. Do you take it down to the wood deck and then put on a new roof, or take it down to the tar and gravel that's underneath it and go from that point? In my opinion, take it down to the wood deck, then you know that you have a good solid base for it, you correct any issues that may be there, and then go forward. So to answer your question, it hasn't been designed, so there's no possible way that he could have a complete, accurate estimate at this point. However, based on the size of that roof compared to the size of this roof, that number should be sufficient to get the job done and get it done properly. I don't know if that answers your question or not.
No, I'm just wondering if we're stepping ahead of the game by doing this. I mean, what isn't, and you could probably answer this,
Yep.
Shirley, too.
Yep.
You know, what is the point of the Building and Facilities Committee but to ask for, you know, bids and stuff like that? And make sure that what is being asked for is a consensus of whatever should be done.
Well, we, on building and facilities, we would make a recommendation to move forward in that manner. We don't have the authority to just initiate that particular job like that. In order to properly do that, you would have to do some core testing to find out exactly what you have there for materials and generate your full scope of the work. It's it'd be like stripping a roof on your house. It's like, why take off the shingle? We already know that there's tar and gravel roof under there. We already know that there's a rubber roof on it. The problem that Adam has faced now, you don't mind, I'm gonna take this off, I can't breathe while I'm talking, that he gets a leak in that roof, and because there's a sub-roof, the tar and gravel roof, the water comes in here, it could come out over there, it could come out over here. He doesn't really know. He's only addressing what he physically sees. It could be going down the outside walls, it could be going anywhere that's in there, and you might not even know where it is. The problem with that roof is typically they last 10 to 15 years, and I think that's about 25 years old. We're well past the life of that roof, and Adam is having it inspected and repaired, I think, twice a year. I know he's doing it at least once a year. At some point, you got to fix it, and it's only going to continually get worse. We've already had an insurance claim last year on it.
I think
Year
we had
before?
2 or 3, couple small ones.
Right.
It was more like 2018,
Right.
but it was 29,000 or something.
Right, but the point is, being an insurance claim, whether it's $1 or $1 million, is still a claim, and it's your incidents that you have, not only your dollar amount, but, all right, so you had an oil spill, you have a leak in the roof, you have this going on, you have that going, it's like, guys, are you paying attention to what you're doing? Sooner or later, we're gonna either be denied a claim or not insured. But
Well, the fact
that's a
is,
different
things are on
problem.
the nose for insurance, that's what's happening.
Right. But to move forward with this, we've already appropriated money at town meeting for the fire alarm up there, but there's no sense in putting a fire alarm up there if the thing's leaking. So we've gotten the windows all done, we got the heating system all done. We're gradually moving towards the point where to save us from a major expense of building a new town hall, expanding up into this and using 50% of the building that we don't even touch.
I didn't know we were at that point, but,
Well, we're not at that point, but we're.
no, it sounds like you are. I mean, that you're moving ahead in those areas, and I guess
Well,
I just,
Yeah, I've been on building and
Is it-
facilities for 9 years, and I've watched what's gone through for this particular building. We did all the windows on the first floor. The second floor was done before I got there. We fixed all the edge of the roof. We put a new roof on that over there. We put new windows in the police department. We put a new
Heating system.
climate control system down there. We put a new boiler in this building here. Now we're looking to put a new generator on, but we got a leaky roof. It's just, and I'm not advocating for the roof. I'm just trying to explain that at some point you need to address it. And that way, I don't understand why we would keep pushing it off. It's only going to get more money. When Matt asked me the question of what my opinion was as far as stripping it down to the wood or going down to the tar and gravel, it's the same answer I would give you on your own house.
no, I guess.
No,
I'm-
but today we can throw away the material. Tomorrow we might not be able to. It might be hazardous waste or whatever. And
It sounded like what you were saying initially was that you've done an awful lot of work already on the second.
on the
floor-
entire building.
On the second floor of this building.
No, we haven't
That's
done anything,
what I
we
was
haven't
hearing
done
you
anything
say.
on the second floor.
Okay, fine, that's good.
Yep, we haven't done anything on the second floor. Those windows were up there before I got on the building and facilities. I got on the building and facilities because every time I came into town hall, the edge of the roof was falling off and Suzanne's window was rotted out of the building. That's what made me join building and facilities. But we're investing a lot. This is a big asset of the town. It's an invaluable asset for the town. We're investing a lot into it. I think we need to address that roof at some point, whether it's this year, next year, or whatever year it happens to be. But we've already, did we do any money for the roof yet, or no? No, okay. It's hard to keep track of what we have all these little accounts with.
Well, yeah, didn't
We
we,
had the fire alarm money, that's what it was, like.
The gym roof?
Yeah.
The gym roof hasn't been done yet. No, the gym roof was done, the gym windows haven't been done.
Yeah.
Yeah, gym windows haven't been done, yeah, yeah. And we're trying to do it in ways of importance, is like we've explored through Adam, we explored, because we have a problem with the windows in the old foyer, or entranceway, whatever, that side entrance, whatever we call it. There's multiple ways of looking at that. Do you just reglaze it? Do you change the whole curtain wall system, whatever? So there's things that are here that we have to address at some point. They're not on our list now. But getting back to the roof, it's a problem. It's something that needs to be addressed. My concern is we have a lot of problems, and the first 4 items, three of the 4 are pretty good ticket items that represent anywhere from 30 to 80% of the money that we have to spend. So now we need to make a good judgment call and try to push it forward.
Anything else on that, Ellie, or?
No, I think,
No, I know, Ken, I just don't
no,
want
I
to lose
mean,
our
I have
train.
my opinion, you have your opinion,
Yep,
so
no, I
that's
just.
fine. you
No,
know.
we're here as a unified group, and at some, we'll pull it together and get some consensus to it. But anyways, go ahead, Ken.
I'm just looking at, the numbers scored the way they scored.
Yeah,
And to me, it makes the most sense to fund them that way. This is an emergency operations center. We had the oil problem a few weeks ago. I think we toughed it out and had a meeting anyway that day, but we could have a situation where we're not able to meet and run an emergency operations center during an event
yeah,
if we don't, that roof is important. And
Right.
I agree with that, and
Yeah.
I'm just gonna throw something out there. I don't know where, it's just like throwing the chips up in the air, see where they land. The fire alarm system's already got 135,000 approved. Is there any way we could take whatever's left over and put that towards getting the fire alarm system squared away?
Well, I think that would be,
well, I think we have enough for the fire alarm system, yeah.
we're just reluctant to do low voltage wiring in the building with a leaky roof. It would be a
Right.
waste of the taxpayers' money.
Yeah.
We might not be covered under any warranty or even our own insurance if we install a system knowing that there's a condition existing that might destroy the system. I wouldn't want to be arguing that one.
No, but that's my point, is we get the roof done.
To get the roof done, we have to do the fire alarm
That's-
immediately.
Right.
The fire alarm is,
Yeah, yeah, and I'm in full agreement with that as far as, and this is only my own personal opinion, Ellie, and you can have yours. I agree with the grading as it went. If you look at the columns that I graded, nothing's a 4, and it's basically, we'll go over this real quick, and I'll explain why nothing was a 4, as far as the way I did it.
I don't think anyone really has to justify why.
No.
No, I don't either.
I'm not, you don't have to, I'm not saying justify it, but just going through the process, because I'm not diminishing, we'll just, we get down to the fire truck. Now, my score is much lower than everybody else's, and the only reason that is just based off of what I seen, it wasn't enough for me to justify changing it. I'm not saying it's good or it's bad, I have no idea. I don't have enough on there to justify it, to rank it to that point. And I'm not defending myself, I'm just explaining as to why that was like that. I try to look at everything objectively and just grade it accordingly as to what I thought it would be. I think that the roof on this building is important because it's a big asset of the town, and we have a continuing problem. And I just, because of what I do for a living, I know what we could end up with if we neglect that. The stuff that you don't see, just like a fire, is sometimes more dangerous than what you actually do see. So. Yes, John?
I just want to finish what I started.
Oh, sorry, John.
That's all right. So, in my opinion, it's only my opinion.
Yep.
We're gonna, if we're gonna do the roof, and that, there's no reason not to do the rooftop units at the same time. I think you might get a better deal if, I know it scored lower further down, but that's the heat for the upstairs, am I correct?
yeah, well, I think it goes without saying, the old units would have to be removed.
Right, so
So
wouldn't it make sense
It would
to,
be Crane Day in Douglas.
yeah,
They take those.
I know it's lower in the list, but it just wraps up the whole project, and then we just put it to bed and then move on. That's
So-
just my opinion.
We are advocating that the Green Communities grant people are here today.
Yep.
Our past consultant did not feel that the replacement of the HVAC system
Qualified.
would qualify using a very rigid approach. They're not running now, so you don't save anything by taking the old inefficient units out and putting new ones in. That always struck me as horse manure. That's one of the reasons why I've changed consultants, because it's not the point of, there are 2 of the 4 do run.
Right.
I think you've mentioned to me that it's technically feasible that remove the old units, build the pads for the new splits, so that when we do have funding, either grant funding or funding from town meeting, it would be all set up. You would go up there and you would install.
You wouldn't be penetrating the new roof, you would actually just be flashing in
Makes sense.
the unit.
It's less than ideal, but we just don't have the money to do it all at the same time. I'm actually cautiously optimistic that we might persuade green communities to, now it's a competitive grant, right? So
Right.
we'd still have to win the competition, but I think our consultant might be willing to take a shot at it this time.
Yeah, and it's not, the heating units aren't really needed upstairs at this point.
No, they just keep us from freezing pipes. That's all we do.
No, I'm just,
We set it at whatever Adam
Right.
sets it at,
Yeah.
40
yeah, no,
something
I didn't
degree.
know how they, if we had residual heat from down here that actually went up there and we weren't running those
So
systems.
surprisingly little,
Yeah.
yeah.
So does it make sense to do those three, but that leaves money left, right?
Yep, so using that logic, well, that puts us at 574, I think John's math was, 574. So if we go on the high end of Matt's assessment, that leaves us 226, and the low end would be 126.
So, I don't know. Would it make sense to take something that's further on down the list that's fits into that category, like the building and facilities truck?
Well, I would advocate for, that's an easy one for me, I would advocate for that truck, because I think it's ridiculous. I'm waiting for him to play the Fred Flintstone with the thing.
And I agree with that. I agree with that.
It's just not only an eyesore, but it's borderline unsafe.
So, in my opinion, those three, that truck, and I don't know, once you get the roof done, see what you have to do the fire alarm system, because you've already got money set aside for that.
That's actually a good suggestion, because that Adams truck is a multi-department truck is what it's earmarked for. It'll assist you guys in the fire department, it's going to assist John in the highway department, as well as Adam carrying his, whatever he's got to carry around for what he does. Any comment on that from anybody? Huh?
Truck thing, so
Excuse me?
even a one or two,
Yep,
that's against what I was.
yep.
I think it's too big a truck. I think it's a whole different operational venue, which is fine, you know, if you change the way you do things. But, you know, I haven't been convinced that, and I'm sure you have.
No, just,
And stuff like that, and, oh yeah, this is what we'll do.
no, I haven't talked to him about that. The only conversations I've had about that truck was in here, so I'm just gonna give you my own thought on where I was with that truck. Is because it's gonna be a utility body versus a pickup truck. That pickup truck that he has now, all he's gonna do, he's gonna get in it, whatever he can throw loose in the back of the bed, he's gonna drive down to here or do whatever, versus having a utility truck, whether, I don't know what their equipment is, and I don't need to know what their equipment is, but what the impression that I got, that some of that, the firefighting equipment would actually be in these compartments. So if he's down here, or he's helping John up on Maple Street or whatever, and he gets a call, he can take off with that truck, and he has the immediate things that he needs in that truck already. So it's not like he's getting a utility truck just to ride around and fill it up with hammers and saws and everything else like I do in my stuff. It's equipment that's going to be used in multiple departments.
You take a storm, you know, there's gonna be chainsaws and stuff like that. He's gonna be able to go, you know,
Yeah.
get the easy stuff out of the road and stuff like that. That's how I look at that.
Yeah, but that's the challenge that you have now, and that was one of the things that you were talking about, having a truck for your department. This was kind of a compromise to try to help help the town and solve a couple needs of a couple departments. So that was the mindset on it. So if you got a regular pickup truck, what are they, 35, 40,000 or something for a little
So
half-ton pickup?
the
like he
original
has?
request from the department heads was for 2 different trucks.
Right.
One light-duty pickup for Adam, one light-duty pickup for fire.
Right,
With, one of them had a plow, I think, was a conversation. So I started a conversation, well, why buy 2 trucks when you can buy one really good truck for less money?
Yeah.
And equip it so that it would be more versatile. You know, I don't know if it's a good idea or not, but I put it out there, and John, does that 65,000 include the plow?
It does,
right.
So, you know, you're getting a, was that a 350 or 450?
350.
The 350 with the plow,
Yeah,
it'll get used. We don't want to put a plow in the front of a 150 or other light
no,
duty.
it's
not gonna be
not
strong
going to
enough.
last
Yeah.
on a lighter-duty truck.
And what's the lifetime of this 350 truck that's going to do all these more heavy-duty things?
At least 10 years.
Yeah.
At least 10 years.
And how long do your trucks last like that?
The large dump, the last ones went 12 years.
Okay, but you don't like it to last that long, right?
Well, I mean, you're just dumping money, good money into bad money at that point.
It depends on what the use of the truck is, and it depends on what you're comparing the truck to. As technology goes forward, cars used to only last 100,000 miles because they had carburetors, they washed out the engine and destroyed them. Now, because of fuel injection and you're not washing out the engine, they last 250, 300,000 miles. You'll easily get 10 years out of a truck. I beat the daylights out of my truck, and I get, the one I just replaced this truck was a 2003. It's just, I run them. That one there, it's got 149 and change on it, and I've had it
Is it the
2
same
years.
size as this?
It's a 3500. It's a Chevy. They're talking about a Ford.
That would be a 350.
Yeah, it's the equivalent to exactly what they're saying. Mine's probably a little over the top because it's got 4 doors on it. It's just what they had on the lot. It's not what I was looking for.
Isn't that what you're looking for?
It's a 1-ton, they're looking for a 1-ton pickup truck that's going to be
For the regular-
used on multi-departments. So what Kent had proposed, I believe, the first time, was probably more like a 3/4-ton truck.
I think I did that last year. I didn't really include it. I didn't rate high, so I just
Right.
didn't even bother. So
But it was in your old
I
request.
have
Yeah.
more pressing stuff that would take precedent over that, you know? And, yeah, that's all I'll say about that.
We bought that truck for Adam for $5,000, was it? $5,000.
5-year fix, and we're over that now.
It just
Yeah.
seems to me to be the next best option if you can't do a fire truck, which that makes, fine.
Yeah.
Then we go down to something lower that, which I think we've done in the past as a committee. We've tried to knock something off so it's not there next year, staring us in the
Yep.
face.
No, absolutely, yeah.
And that to me seems
That would put it
more,
639.
Right,
yeah.
yep.
I have to get to my shift, but just to clarify my position on the maintenance pickup, I was intending to vote a priority 1 on that.
Oh, so you wanted to give it 4 points, you gave it 1 point.
Yeah, that's my mistake, but
No,
I
that's all
didn't
right.
rate that high.
Yeah, yeah.
Just before I leave, I just wanted to clarify.
Yep.
It's not reflected there, but
So your whole votes are priorities as opposed to points?
no.
No, he just-
The one,
It would be 4 points.
everything else is correct.
Okay.
He had a senior moment.
Exactly.
I had to catch myself a couple times.
Yeah, and I.
Well, Brandon covered himself completely because he put both systems on his
Yeah,
spreadsheet. So in this case, it clearly, his 1s are 4s and his 3s are 2s and his 2s are 3s. So I got this one right. He made his own little mistake there.
Yeah. All right, so I have to go to my shift.
All right,
Still have a point.
thanks,
Shirley's trying
Brandon.
to say something, but she needs to unmute.
You have to unmute, Shirley. Ken can't read your lips.
Can you hear me now?
Absolutely.
See you, Brandon.
Now we can't hear you. Nope,
Stop pressing the button.
nope. There you go, there you go. Leave the buttons alone. Go ahead, speak.
You good?
Yes.
Okay. You know, I'm with what John said about, and some of you with the roof, the generator, the panic alarms. When we do the roof, and we have to,
That's weird.
Just unmute.
You're muted again. When we do the roof, what? Nope.
good?
Yep. When we do the roof, we have to,
And we want to do the, excuse me, HV units. Are we going to be messing up the area of the roof?
no, so what I had made a suggestion to Matt when we talked about that within the last 30 days is to actually, when the roof, if the roof gets done, to build a curb that the units mount on, which is typical on a roof. You don't put them flat on the roof. They're always up to keep any water leakage from going in.
I did hear you say that.
Yeah, create that curbing, so then if and when the units get done, that's already in place, they mount their units on, and all they're doing is flashing, they're not penetrating the new roof.
But there will be some walking up there on the roof.
Yeah, but when, just,
The crane to put it on, put
Cor-
those things on?
correct, and when, just like when we did the gymnasium roof, we put those walk pads on, they're in the far right-hand corner where that little yellow railing is. You put those down on top. They're inexpensive, you just put that into the spec, so then they, whoever goes up and maintains these units, they have those walk pads.
Okay,
But walking on a rubber roof isn't gonna hurt it at all.
I hope not.
No, it won't.
And the other question I have is, so where are we with projects that have been in the making and being done? And do we have any funding left over from that?
Okay, so before we get into that, I'd like to stay focused on, try to get through scoring these and making our recommendations, and then we could, Jean's not available for this meeting, she's tied up. What we can do is, Matt could get that answer and send it to you, if that's sufficient, or we could handle it at a upcoming meeting. But the projects that have been funded, as I remember, she gave us a list, and all that money is still in those particular accounts. They're just sitting there stagnant, and nothing's been done to them. So the money didn't disappear, it's still there.
I understand that, but if there is going to be money left over, could we use some of that to fund whatever is needed to even it out?
No, it would have to go back into the free cash. It'd have to be voted in to go back, to move it, I think. We can't just take money out of one account and put it into another one. It just doesn't work that way.
No, we could recommend that it be put towards, if it's another building project or however she requires it to be done.
So,
I want to know if there's money left there that somehow we could use.
all right, so if it's a project that's already been done, we already went through that, and I think it was like 168,000 that we put towards a radio project. That went through town meeting. The other funds that are in there, if the projects haven't been done, then the decision would have to be made and recommended that these projects are no longer viable and not going to be done. You wouldn't take it out and then try to go back later on and redo it again.
That's not my question, Mike.
Okay.
We need to have information from Jean to see if there's anything left or available from past projects
Okay.
that isn't going to be used.
Okay.
So the answer is
And I
no.
think-
It's been no for 6 months.
Would
Right. So,
benefit from that.
yeah, so in November, when we had our fall town meeting, the recommendation, and it got voted on at town meeting, to move the 168,000 from various projects and put it onto the radio project that brought us from 764 plus the money we already voted on, and the free cash money brought us down to like 434,000, if I remember the number.
Right.
Something, so we've already exhausted any extra monies from any projects. So now it would be any projects moving forward if there was anything left over, and we haven't done anything as of yet.
No, the only projects that are left are projects that are parked, because nothing was done because of the issues that we have. So with the fire alarm, we're not going to do the fire alarm unless we fix the roof. The windows in the gym is the only other big ticket item that is left in terms of, there's a list of smaller stuff, but those are the two big ones. The gym windows, we've been back and forth. We've lead testing, asbestos testing, remediation costs, and design. So design has been, I think we went out once to bid on design and didn't get a successful conclusion, or we started to do it, but there was, and Bill's not here to explain it, but there was a difference of opinion about the proper way. The Recreation Commission wanted the windows replaced in the type of windows they are now, and others recommend that we do something different.
Right.
So that's an ongoing conversation. But as for what the chairman said is absolutely correct. We scooped however many that was like 14 accounts or something.
Correct.
They were all cleaned out.
And I believe it was 168,000.
Yeah, the department head signed off on all those projects were closed. All that money was put towards the radio project and offset the cost of it. With the new, the new cost.
Your question been answered, Shirley?
I'd still like to see,
Yeah, no, we'll get that list from Gene as to what we have for accounts, that money that's been voted on, but the projects haven't been done. So there's no excess money from completed projects. There's only monies in different accounts for projects that have been approved at town meeting.
because that could come up as a question, and I think we need to be open and fair to the public, and
No, absolutely.
I do have one other question, though. If, on the radios, Matt, was that accounted for another tower on the school?
Yep,
Okay.
yes.
Yep. It's going to be a 15-foot tower with a 13-foot base on it.
Okay.
I don't know which school roof it's going on, but I remember that part of it. All right, so what is the thoughts of the committee? Are we in consensus that we want to recommend the generator, the panic alarms, the roof, and the universal pickup truck?
I make a motion that we approve it in that order.
I'll second it.
And that's the one for 65,000?
Yes. The pickup truck?
Yeah.
Yes.
So what is that total?
I believe it's 639.
639.8
639.8. What's the 8?
from the 14.8
Oh, okay.
panic. Super precise work product of the school department.
Yeah, 3.4285 with the repeating 3.
The square root of pi, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, so I had a motion by John to recommend the generator, panic alarms, replacement of the roof, and the, I just want to make sure that I refer to it properly. Trying to find, where is that truck?
Again, if I could just, I'm putting on my Gene hat right now, pretending to be Gene. I do a bad job of it. But the generator for 215, could you put the numbers with it?
All right.
215,
So, let me just redo that. So we had a recommendation, a motion by John Furno, seconded by Ken Vincent, to recommend the generator for $215,000. The panic alarms for $14,800. Replacement of the municipal center roof, the main roof, for $345,000. And the replacement of the maintenance pickup truck for $65,000. The total is $639,800. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes. Any other discussion on these motions?
Except that those are the funds. Again, I'm putting my Gene hat on. I sent around the suggested language for the generator. And then if it is your intent as a committee that the $65,000 include a plow, I would ask for our internal management purposes with Gene and town council, that you say that. So pickup truck and plow, so that we don't have any problems getting authority to spend the money for the plow.
Okay, so anybody, correct me if I'm incorrect, it's a F-350, John?
Yes, sir.
F-350 with a plow and also a utility body on the back.
Correct.
Four-wheel drive truck, because there's no sense in having a two-wheel drive plow.
It's a 1-ton, right, John?
It's a
So
one-ton
if we
pickup.
could say 1-ton,
One,
F-350 is a brand,
yep,
so 1-ton pickup with
one-ton
utility
pickup
body
truck with a
and
utility
plow.
body and plow, four-wheel drive.
Yep.
Yeah. Going back to the generator, there's a recommendation from the Selectman's office that we recommend this with the following language. It would include the design, written specification, bid documents, procurement support, construction, electrical wiring and removal of unused wiring, installation and other related expenses associated with the replacement and upgrade of the emergency backup generator located at the municipal center. Any further discussion on these 4 items? Shirley?
Billy Mazinski, aye.
Ellie Chesbro, no.
Ben Tessino, aye.
Kent Vincent, aye.
John Furno, aye.
Mike Fitzpatrick, aye. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in favor, 1 opposed. All right, so we're through that. So I asked Matt just to print this out, because when I was going through this, even though that I felt that the roof scored very high on it, the description in here said that it would prevent irreparable damage to a valuable public facility. Well, you can fix it. So in the second category, under 3, it says that it would alleviate an existing threat of a significant but repairable damage to the public property. So I don't know if we want to look at that and change that around. That, and I also would make a recommendation that we take priority and put that A, B, C, and D, and then have the scores 1 through 4, just to eliminate any future confusion on that. Just like Brandon, he put down priority 1, but he meant 4 points on whatever item that he was talking about. I don't know how everybody feels about that. I'm not overly worried about the wording in those categories. It was just, you can't really, I couldn't really put the roof under category, priority 1, because it says it's irreparable. And well, we can fix it, so that was the reason for that. So I would, I don't know if we need to vote on that, or just a recommendation to the, for scoring thing, just to change that priority to letters, and then leave the scoring as is, just for clarity.
That's fine. I think the must-do, should-do really helps out.
Yep.
whenever I got screwed up, I would go to the bottom
Oh, yeah,
and
yep,
say, oh, must do, should do.
yep. No, that's all good. I like that. I just, the priority thing kind of got a
Changing to
little
A, B, C,
confusing.
and D, I don't have a problem.
Yeah. Well, just, it'll help for whoever in the future.
Less confusion.
Or
So-
you can also just say vote by points or vote by priority. You could do it that way, too.
You can do it that way, but for myself to make it idiot-proof for me, I'd rather have A, B, C, and D, or A, B, C, D, and then 1, 2, 3, 4 for the points.
And for the record, Adam's original request does list the plow and what have you, I have here.
Yep,
We'll use that for the
Yeah.
language.
yep, yeah, and it had the utility body mentioned in there as well. Yep. Did anybody have a chance to review all the minutes?
I did not.
I did.
Yep, anything, any issues with any of them?
Yeah, I just, a lot, it's a different style of reporting, and it was sort of fun to
Yeah, that was Ashley Pomes did those. Unfortunately, Ashley is no longer with us. Our new Ashley is working on them, but it'll be a while before somebody gets to ours because they got quite the backlog with planning board and whatnot, and there's some pretty important things going through there that they take precedence over us. Anything else from anybody?
Are you going to go through the minutes, or nobody had a chance to read what?
I read them as I had them on the computer. I didn't print them out and read them again. I didn't see anything there that I had any issue with. Ellie just said she didn't have any issue with anything. Did you get a chance to read them? Huh?
I forgot to read them.
Okay. I don't know when our next meeting's going to be because we actually scored this thing, so whoever the, and I should bring that up too. So we made those recommendations, so looks like, let's see. Adam, in the school. They're going to have to go to the finance meeting on the 23rd to explain their projects. We recommended them, but it's not our position to advocate for their projects. They need to do that. So what do we want to do with these minutes? Did you read the minutes, John?
I did,
No.
unfortunately.
Do you want a motion?
If everybody's comfortable with it, make a motion.
Make a motion that we approve the Capital Improvement Committee meeting minutes of Wednesday, September 30th, 2020, as presented.
You going to go through them one at a time, or you want to do them as a group?
No, one at a time.
Okay.
I'll second it.
Motion made by Shirley, seconded by Ellie to approve the September 30th, 2020 meetings as written.
Shirley Mazinski, aye.
Ellie Chesbro, aye.
Ted Vincent, aye.
Ben Tessino, aye.
John Furno, aye.
Mike Fitzpatrick, aye. Next?
Okay, Capital Improvement Committee meeting minutes of October 14th, 2020, approved as presented.
Second.
Yeah. No, we just had a little technical delay there, but then we're back on. The motion made by Shirley Mazinski to approve the minutes of October 14th, 2020, seconded by Ellie Chesbro. All in favor?
Shirley Mazinski, aye.
Ellie Chesbro, aye.
John Furno, aye.
Ted Vincent, aye.
Ben Tessino, aye.
Mike Fitzpatrick, aye. Next?
Okay, Capital Improvement Committee meeting minutes of Wednesday, October 21st, 2020, approved as presented.
Second.
Motion made by Shirley Mazinski to approve the minutes of October 21st, 2020, seconded by Ellie Chesbro. All in favor?
Shirley Mazinski, aye.
Ellie Chesbro, aye.
John Furno, aye.
Ted Vincent, aye.
Ben Tessino, aye.
Mike Fitzpatrick, aye.
And the last one is Capital Improvement Committee meeting minutes of Wednesday, December 2nd, 2020, as presented.
Second?
Motion made by Shirley Mazinski to approve the meeting minutes of December 2nd, 2020, seconded by Ellie Chesbro. All in favor?
Aye. Shirley Mazinski, aye. Sorry.
Ellie Chesbro, aye.
John Furno, aye.
Kent Vincent, aye.
Ben Tessino, aye.
Mike Fitzpatrick, aye. So, Mr. Administrator, now that we've gone through this, do we want to hold off a little bit before we start working on future things? Give everybody a rest, and you can get through your budgets and town meetings?
You still have to present a 5-year plan under the bylaw to town meeting, so I think you need one more meeting. And the issue will be for the committee, whether you want to push some of these projects that didn't get high grades this year to next year, or do you want to take all the rest of those requests for years 2, 3, 4, and 5 and sort them out as best you can. I know that sometimes we look at 5 years as like, we're going to change it every year anyway, so what's the point? I think you got a couple of large ticket items that I don't want to lose track of
Right.
in terms of public's awareness. So, if the engine needs to be discussed again next year, then you have a highway barn conversation that you need to have. And at some point, not too far away, you have the ladder truck conversation that needs to be in the back of people's mind. So I would recommend that you do a 5-year plan that is your best estimate, sitting here to, this year, about how you will want to roll this out.
So what's the deadline for going into the town, or?
You have a placeholder in the warrant, so, you always have access to the warrant anyway. And it's all one article, so your entire 5-year plan, including the expenditures in year 1 of that plan, are all one article, and so we just have to put the language in. We've got most of it after today's meeting, so now it's just that chart that comes at the end for year 2, 3, 4, and 5.
Yeah, but what's the deadline for publishing it?
Oh, so it would be when the FinCom sends out its mailer, well, actually, no. When the FinCom holds its public hearing on the warrant has to be done.
Okay.
And so what's the deadline?
All right, so before we get into the deadline,
That's my way of saying
let
I
me make
don't
a
know the calendar
suggestion.
date, but I know it's going to be 3 or 4 weeks before.
I have to be at FinCom on the 23rd. 2 weeks from today is the 24th. What I would suggest is maybe everybody not only look at the past 5-year plan that we have standing, but there's a lot of consideration that needs to,
That's the one with the green lines
Yeah.
on it.
right, yep.
That's
Yeah,
So look at this list as how they scored, as well as the 5-year plan that we have sitting there, and then we meet, what's that? And then we meet on the 24th, and we just have a quick little conversation about our 5-year plan, and then we can move forward with that. Does that make sense to everybody?
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, the only other thing I would like to put on the committee's radar screen is I think it might be helpful if you want to have a conversation about the highway barn and how it would be financed. If we get a briefing from the town's financial advisor on the options, debt exclusion versus capital exclusion versus other means.
Right.
Because I think the committee ought to take a position. There's 2 positions to take, right? What is the priority of the project, but then it may weigh into your decision-making how it's recommended you fund it. And those
Right,
things are
so-
all different under Massachusetts law, so you need to know the difference.
Yeah, so did we kind of put more thought into where the location of where it would be? Because we talked about a few different scenarios as to where it could possibly be, so
I
just,
actually think that's ahead of you. The first decision be whether or not you even want to try to do it.
Okay, all right.
Because I don't think the town spent that much money on anything in a very long time. When's the last time you spent more than $1 million on?
When's the last school? No, but I think that's,
Mr. Chairman?
yes.
I think that's a good idea, because that's where I was with the replace of the fire truck because of the cost. And big items getting up there, to me, that looks, has in the past been like a debt exclusion. But I think we need to talk.
So the financial advisor would talk about debt exclusion, would talk about the one that is a little less terrible than debt exclusion.
Capital exclusion?
Okay, that's what it's called, all right.
Yeah.
And because I don't want to waste the finance advisor's time on me if he doesn't talk about these specific things. I don't want to hear anything else.
Right.
Except for debt exclusion, capital exclusion, and what was the third?
I think the third would be an assessment of the advisability of using free cash instead of either one of those two, based on the town's financial position.
We can do that on the next meeting, on the 24th.
Yeah.
So March
Sounds
20th.
good.
Yeah.
I'll have Gene line that up.
Does anybody have anything else?
So that's April 24th, Mr. Chairman?
No, March 24th.
March 20th.
Yeah,
Hey,
2 weeks from today. 2 PM on 2 weeks from today works for everybody?
yeah.
All right, we'll see if we get something here.
I entertain a motion to go home.
So moved.
Second.
You're
Motion-
already home.
Motion made by Shirley to adjourn, seconded by Ellie Chesborough. All in favor?
Shirley Lizinski, aye.
Ellie Chesborough, aye.
John Furlong, aye.
Ken Vincent, aye.
Ben Tessino, aye.
Mike Fitzpatrick, aye.